What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be doing a review on the 2022 Ford F-350 Lariat in this beautiful Atlas blue. Huge thank you to Matt Newman over at Koons Sterling Ford for giving me this car to review for you guys today. If you're interested in this particular F-350 or any Ford product, I'll have his information on screen as well as in the description box down below. But with that said, let's get into the video. First, let's talk about looks. And the first thing I want to mention is just how beautiful this Atlas blue paint looks. It's got this metallic flake in it, especially it really pops in the sunlight. So if you're looking at a blue truck, definitely take a look at the Atlas blue. Go look at one in person. I think you'll really fall in love with the color, especially because this truck in particular does have the black appearance package. So this stuff usually on like another Lariat and also in like the headlights and on this mirror cap right here, usually this stuff would be in chrome, but because this has the black appearance package, it really makes the blue and the black, it really pops and it really sets the truck off really nicely. But one thing I wanted to point out is just how big this front valance is. You know, it could hinder you on your off-road. You could put some cracks in it or hit some rocks, you know, and that's just something you don't really want to do. So maybe this truck you wouldn't want to take off-road. So if you want to take a truck off-road, just look into getting like a Raptor or a TRX or something like that. But you know, this also has the blacked out Ford emblem right here, and there's no chrome. It's just kind of like this shark gray type of color right there. But moving alongside the truck, you do have these beautiful multi-spoke 20-inch wheels with manual lockers right here. These are a 275/65 R20 series tire, and you know, these tires look very good. They are Michelin's. They do have a little bit of beefy tread right here. But moving alongside, this is the 6.7 liter Powerstroke, and it makes 475 horsepower and 1,050 pound-feet of torque. And all that stuff goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission, which is able to push this big truck from 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds, if you were curious about that. But like I said about the black appearance package, this stuff is in black where normally it would be in chrome, and same with the mirror cap like I mentioned there before. But you do have this turn signal also in the mirror, and it says Ford right in there as well. And you know, Ford hides those Easter eggs pretty much all across their lineup. Like on the Bronco, you could see just all throughout the vehicle there are little Bronco emblems or little American flags stuff all over the truck. So I really appreciate how they like just hide these little Easter eggs, and it just makes the truck look that much cooler. But moving alongside, you do notice you do have this door right here, and obviously that's where you put your diesel, and that's also unfortunately where you have to put your DEF. Thank you to the EPA. Boo. But anyway, like I said, moving alongside, these wheels just look very good on this blue truck. This truck in particular does have the FX4 off-road package, so you do get skid plates and just other off-road stuff like that. But I also do think that these rear taillights look very good, and you can see that this part of the taillight has to do with the blind spot, but we'll get into that stuff later on into the video when we're in the interior and on the drive portion of the review. But looking at the tailgate, this is a nice looking tailgate. It's definitely a very wide looking truck. Just by looking at the rear, that's where you can kind of tell the difference between like an F-150 or like just a 1500 series truck is back here, and you just notice how much wider the tailgate is on one of these as opposed to like a 1500 series truck like I was talking about. But this is a Lariat, so this truck in particular does not have the soft open tailgate, so when you open it, it does fall down and, you know, do stuff like that. But this does have bed liner. This is a Ford bed liner, and they did a really good job. I think it looks very good, and if you're going to be using your bed, you're definitely going to want to get some bed liner just so you don't ruin you know, this nice metal back here. So definitely get the bed liner if you're going to be using the bed. But you do see right here that you do have some LED lights, so if you're loading up your truck bed at night, you definitely have no problem by, you know, it's going to be all lit up, and you can push the lights on by that button right there, and you can see the lights all throughout the vehicle. But right here, these are connections for your gooseneck hitch right there, and you also do have, you know, these little things to tie whatever load you have down in the back of your bed. But let's close that. You do have the little tailgate step right there, which is very nice because this truck is very high off the ground. So if you're an older guy, or you know, if you just want to get into your bed easier, that definitely makes it easier to get in and out of the bed. But like you can see right here, you do have your backup camera there. your another Ford logo right here with the shark gray around with the black logo. I think that looks very good, and I think that looks better than the chrome and, you know, the blue background that you usually see on a Ford emblem. But if you're using your regular hitch right here, you do have your other hitch attachments right here. And this truck in particular can pull 21,200 pounds when using this hitch. So that's definitely a lot of weight. So if you got a big ass boat, definitely gonna wanna get one of these trucks. And just this hitch is just massive in and of itself. So I think that's very good. So if you're pulling a lot of weight, definitely opt for like an F2 or an F-350. But you know, this one also has your backup sensors along here, and you know, just this nice little tail light back here again. But I really like the exhaust on like the 6.7 Powerstrokes, and they've had this style exhaust for a really long time, and I just think that it looks very good, especially coming from factory, because like the other manufacturers just have one straight pipe that comes along back here. So I think that just looks a little bit more premium. I think that just looks kind of like it's a little like an aftermarket type of exhaust, and I just think that it looks very good. And if you want to be rolling coal on people, you can definitely do that because it's pointed out on one side. So just moving alongside, this is a crew cab, so it's definitely got a lot of room on the interior. So talking about the interior, let's walk on over and open up the door right here, and we'll pop the hood right here. So I want to show you guys just how big this motor is. Let's come over and pop it open, and boom, 6.7 liter Powerstroke. It's massive. It's a big motor, and you definitely need that big motor to pull 21,000 pounds. But anyway, closing the hood, and let's move into the interior. Really nice door. You have your little leather right here, along with some accent stitching right there. And it's got some good memory foam in the armrest right here. But let's step in and just look. For 2022, you do have that new 12-inch Sync 4 screen right there. But this truck does not have push button start, so we do have to open up the key right here and start her up. And you hear that big 6.7 Powerstroke coming to life. But you know, stepping into the interior, just the fit and finish of this truck is very nice. These window switches feel very solid. They're definitely not cheap feeling by any means. You know, in some cars you get in and these things just wiggle all around, or they just feel like really cheap. That's not the case on this truck. These feel very nice. And you know, front windows get automatic up and down, as you can see right there. Back windows are not automatic up down, so you do have to, you know, hold it up and hold it back down. But like I said, looking at the door panel right here, you do have 3 memory adjustment seats right here. So if you got 3 different people in your car, you can set the memory for 3 different people. But this truck in particular does have the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, and I have listened to a little bit of country with it, a little bit of classic rock with it. And I haven't really listened to much rap with it, but just those 2 genres of music that I did listen to, both sounded very clear, very crisp, and they definitely had a little bit of bass to them. And you know, they're definitely a very good sound system, just from the little bit that I have heard of it. But in the door panel, you see right here, you got enough room for a bottle of water, or you know, just any storage. You want to put gloves here, you want to put you know, an extra bottle of water. Definitely enough space to do that in the door. But let's close that door right there. And you see these little buttons right here. Your lights do have to be on, or it does have to be dark outside to turn these on. But you click these buttons and there's a little puddle light on each side of your car, inside of the mirror, that point down at the ground, just to make it a little bit easier to get in and out of your truck. So that's a nice little touch right there that you can do that. But you know, to turn on your headlights, you got your little system right here to mess with the gauges and stuff like that. You got your buttons there, and then also this thing right here adjusts the pedals forward and backward. So you know, if I push that button right there, you can see the pedals come towards me, and if I push that button, they kind of push back away from me. And I really like that. Just gives it just that much more configurability, just to make you just that much more comfortable. But looking at the screen here, you can see you got all the information that you could ever want. You basically scroll through the screen here, you've got your fuel economy, off-road status, stuff like that, your trips, again, more fuel economy, compass, navigation, You know, you got your digital speedometer, seatbelt, engine information, transmission temperature, and basically anything that the truck could be wrong with it, you know, just go through that right there. Trailer information, towing information, all out and right there. And then you got a little gyroscope type thing right there. As you can see, we're on level ground and my tires are turned to 21 degrees to the right. But you know, through here, you can turn on your blind spot, turn off your blind spot, cross traffic alert, driver alert, rear parking aid, pre-collision, stuff like that. So basically your safety settings, or just your settings for this screen right here, you can adjust through there as well. But like you can see right here, we do have an analog RPM gauge along with an analog speedometer right there. But you do have this digital screen in the middle right there, like I said, that shows you all that information that you want, along with your gas gauge right there and your turbo PSI there. But moving along, for 2022, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, you do get this 12-inch screen right here. And you know, this screen is awesome. I really like the way that the graphics look and stuff like that. I think it just looks very, very good. But you know, when I first got into it, it did trip up a little bit. It was kind of like a little buggy, but now that, you know, I turned the car off and I turned it back on again, it looks very, very good again, and no issues with the screen right now. Very responsive. It's got very crystal clear picture, so definitely no complaints. It's basically like the same exact screen that I did a review on with that F-150 Platinum. It's the same exact screen, both 12-inch screens, both look very good. Basically the same screen that was in the Bronco review that I did earlier as well. And as you can see, this truck in particular does have a 360-degree view camera right there, and you can see it also does have a front camera right there. So if you're, you know, backing up to a trailer, I'll put us in reverse right here. It just makes it that much easier to back up to a trailer, so you don't need a second guy, and you can just push that zoom in button right there, and you can see you kind of have those lines right in the middle that kind of are like, okay, well, follow those lines, back up to your trailer, and basically you only need one shot to back up your trailer, and you don't need anyone else. But this truck does have 4-wheel drive with those manual lockers right there to put it in 4 high, just like that, 4 low, just like that. We're gonna leave it in 2 high because we're not going off-roading. This truck also does have a trailer backup right there, which makes it super easy to back up a trailer. So you don't have to worry about, you know, turning the opposite way to get the trailer to go the opposite way. So, you know, if you don't really know how to back up a trailer, you probably want to get that option. However, if you do know how to back up a trailer, you could probably skip that option, but you know, it'd be nice to have. But you know, just the fit and finish of this truck is very nice. You can definitely use these knobs and push these buttons. You know, if you've got gloves on or if you're working, you'll have no problem turning the volume up and down, switching the tune, or turning the air condition colder or warmer. No issues there. But you also do have a 12-volt outlet followed by a home outlet right there, which is a 400-watt max little outlet right there. But also, you do have your USB port and USB-C port for Apple CarPlay, but this car also does have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, so you don't need to use these to connect to Apple CarPlay. But, you know, just like you see right here, definitely enough room for 2 water bottles right there. And in here you've got a little more extra storage space. So right now I got my wallet and my keys to my car and stuff like that. So you know, just a little bit of storage space for whatever you need. So if you want to put a tape measure right here, you can definitely fit in a tape measure right there. Just, you know, if you're on the job site or something like that. And you can also fit in, you know, some more storage space stuff right there. And you got a little more storage space stuff for, you know, in your footwell right there as well. But opening up the center console right here, if you want to put some quarters, dimes, nickels, whatever you want to put right in here, you've got the space to do so. And this thing does slide across the little thing right in here. And you got some more storage space right here. If you don't want this in here, all you got to do is pull it out and you open up just that much more storage space. So definitely very deep storage space. You can see my whole forearm fits in there. So I would say that this thing is probably like 2 feet long from front to back, and probably like 1.5 feet wide. So definitely plenty of storage space in here. And you also got another 12-volt outlet right there. But let's put this thing back in here and let's talk about these seat comfortability. These seats are very, very, very comfortable. Definitely like memory foam or something in these seats. They're just very, very comfortable. Definitely could sit in this car and do a long road trip. I have no issues doing that. And then the back seats are just as comfortable as these front seats right here. But let's move into the rear seats and talk about the rear comfortability of the seats back there. Oh, but one thing I did want to mention before we move into the rear, let me close that door again, is that these mirrors do come out by the push of this button right here. So if you're pulling a big, thick, wide trailer, you push this button right here and you can see the mirrors come out. So it does that on both sides. So I'm going to close them. You can see it's coming in over there. And on the mirror, see at the top left-hand corner of the mirror, that is where your blind spot warning is. So if you got a car in your blind spot, that's where it's going to alert you. But you also have that little mirror on the bottom right there that, you know, if you didn't have blind spot monitoring, you know, that's kind of like your old school blind spot monitoring there. But let's open up the door and move to the back like I was saying. Step out, and opening up the rear door, you do have this running board right here if you are a little shorter and you want an extra step to step into the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step on the step and make it just a little bit easier for me to get into the truck. But, you know, looking at the door panel right here, like I said, this is not an automatic up down window, so you do have to hold it to go down and hold it to go back up. But definitely plenty of storage space, and again, enough room for a water bottle right there, or an extra water bottle right there. But you know, you can put whatever you want to in the door sill right there. But let's close the door and just look at the back seat leg room. I'm 5'9" and about 145 pounds, and width wise, definitely no problem. I could definitely have another one of me right here and another one of me over there, or even somebody thicker than me could also fit in this seat and could also fit in this middle seat right here. But like I said, in the front seat, these back seats are also just as comfortable as those front seats are in the front. They've got to use like some type of memory foam because these seats are just very, very comfortable to sit in. But you know, let's talk about connectivity back here. So let's open up this little door. Again, you do have a USB and USB-C port right there, followed by a 12-volt outlet and another 400-watt outlet right there. So a little home outlet to plug in, you know, whatever you want. You want to put a microwave in the back here and microwave something while you're on a long road trip, you can do that. So let's close that right there. You do have these two vents right here. No heated seats in the rear, so you do have to step up to a higher level trim to get heated seats in the rear. But do you really need heated seats in the rear? Probably not, because how often are you really going to have somebody complaining that their butt's cold in the back seat? Probably not too often. But you do have this LED dome light right up here, you know, just to turn on at night, just so you can see better in the back seat. You do have these pockets behind both the driver and the passenger door, and like I said, tons and tons of leg room. You know, me sitting with my feet like this, I probably got a foot to a foot and a half of extra knee room right there, which is awesome. Or I could extend my legs just like that and basically have my legs almost fully extended behind my seat setting right there. So, you know, I'm 5'9", like I said, and I'm adjusted my seat right there, and just I have tons and tons of leg room right here. But let's step out of the truck right here and just look at that beautiful blue again. But to open up these seats right here, you do see that you have this little pull strap right here. So pull on the strap, open up the seat like that, and just more and more storage space right here. So if you want to put jumper cables, an umbrella, you know, stuff like that, you definitely can do that right here, and you don't have to worry about it sliding all throughout the rear interior space in the back, because you've got this little divider right here. So that's great. Like I said, it's great for somebody who's working. You want to put some tools back here, you can do that. You know, this is just a very great truck for somebody who's going to be working on a job site or something like that. But you know, same goes for the other side. You can flip up the seat on that side as well and just open up that much more storage space under the seats. So let's pop the seat right back down, push it down like that, and you do see that you do have a center fold down armrest right here with 2 spots for cup holders. And you know, if you don't have a middle passenger, enough room to set your arm here and for another person to set their arm on that side. So we've talked about the interior, we've talked about the exterior, we've talked about the performance. So now there's just one thing left, and we want to find out what this thing's like to drive. So I'll see you guys in the driver's seat. And now on to my favorite part of each and every review that I do, and that is the driving part of the review. And the reason behind that is because, like I mentioned in many videos before, you learn a lot about a car by driving it. You learn about like how it handles at high speeds, how it goes around turns, how it takes bumps, stuff like that. All that stuff you learn about a car by driving it. So the more that I drive this car, the more that I'm learning about it and what, you know, how it handles stuff and how it goes over bumps and how it brakes and stuff like that. And, you know, one thing I want to say is that this thing goes over bumps way better than I would have ever imagined. And, you know, I don't have the most experience with like 2500 or 3500 trucks, just because I haven't really driven them all that much. Like I have one review of 3500 Cummins, and you know, that truck drove very well, but this thing also just rides very, very well, and you know, goes around turns very well. There's not like so much body roll that you're like, oh my god, this thing feels like it's gonna tip over like a Jeep or something. No, but like this thing handles very, very well, goes over bumps very well. I will say, like, if you do have to come to a stop, and you do have to come to a stop quickly, you're really gonna have to bury your foot into the brake pedal, because this thing, obviously, it's a very heavy car, but also, like, you just really got to push your foot into the brake in order to stop. But, you know, the brakes aren't weak by any means either. But, you know, one thing I also wanted to mention is, you know, coming from this green light right here, is that this thing really has got some good power to it. Like, you definitely don't feel like this thing needs any more power, or that it's sluggish or anything like that, because it's definitely not sluggish, and it definitely doesn't really need any more power. Like, that low end torque of that 6.7 is just so great, and same with the mid-range torque. Like, it's just, it's very, very quick. Like, it's a lot quicker than you would expect a truck like this to be. At least that I would expect a truck like this to be. Like, I'm definitely not craving any more power. I feel like it's got just the perfect amount of power that you really need, not only for daily driving, but I can feel like if you're pulling a 20,000 pound load, that this thing's not really gonna have that much issue pulling that much weight. But, you know, a lot of people say a truck like this doesn't really feel all that comfortable until you start really loading it down with weight, and then it starts smoothing out. But, you know, I haven't noticed that. I think that this thing is very smooth, and it really doesn't have that much road noise. It's very quiet in here. Like, you know, I'm just having a regular conversation. I'm not having to raise my voice into the camera because there's a lot of wind noise or anything like that, or tire noise or engine noise. Like, you know, everything's buttoned up very well. Definitely not too loud from the motor, nothing too loud from the tires, nothing like that. But when you're cruising around 55, 60 miles an hour, there's somewhat of a vagueness in the middle of the steering wheel, and you know, you really kind of got to turn the wheel a little bit to correct the truck. But you know, that's something that you get used to over time, and it doesn't become really an issue after just a little bit of driving it. And you know, after I've driven it around a little bit, I've definitely gotten used to it. So yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like a nuisance to me by any means at all. But yeah, definitely something that might take a little bit of getting used to, especially if you've come from like a 1500 truck, or you've come from a sedan or something like that, where the steering is very direct. That's definitely something you might have to get used to with this truck. But once you get used to it, definitely no issues. Like I said, it takes bumps very well, even high speed bumps. You can go around a turn like at a, you know, you don't be crazy going around a turn, but you know, you can take a turn at a decent speed and not have to worry about like flipping over, feeling like you're gonna flip over or anything like that. But this truck is just very, very well composed on the streets. It's got all the power that you could ever want. And you know, I'm gonna keep going back to the power because I've done like a couple like moderate accelerations, and you know, it's a very quick truck. Like I can't say that this thing's slow by any means, because it's definitely very quick. Like, let me put the hammer down a little bit right here. I mean, it gets moving, and like, and when you let off the throttle, like after you've gotten on it a little bit, it'll go psst. Like, obviously it's a turbo diesel, but I really like how they incorporated the turbo whistle with this truck. It just makes it just that a little bit more fun and a little more engaging to drive, especially if you're a car guy. You know, just those little sounds and stuff really kind of add to the driving experience. But, you know, One thing I did want to mention is that I didn't mention when I was doing the interior review is that this thing does have a sunglasses holder right here, and it also has a back window back there, as you can see probably. I'm opening it up back and forth like that. But you know, we've talked about the interior, we talked about the exterior, we talked about the performance, and now we've talked about how this thing drives. And I want to talk about my overall thoughts of this vehicle. So obviously, if you're not going to be towing all that often, or if you're not going to be towing like really heavy loads, I would say maybe lean towards like a 150 truck, just because, you know, 150 truck, you've got some more amenities and stuff like that. It's a little bit easier to drive. Like, this thing's definitely, it's wide and it's long, and yeah, you don't have to get the 8-foot bed, you can get the 6 3/4 foot bed, but you know, it's just a little bit easier to drive a 150 truck as opposed to like a 350, kind of like this, just because, you know, this thing sits up a little bit higher. Obviously, like I said, it's longer, it's wider, you got these big mirrors on each side. So like, if you're worried about, like, you know, something that's super wide and being able to park in tight spaces and stuff like that, definitely look into a 150 truck. Although this does have that 360-degree view camera, it's just a little bit easier, even with all those features and stuff like that. Like I said, it's just a little bit easier to park a 150 truck. But overall, I think this thing rides very smoothly. I think it's got all the power that you could ever want. You got 21,000 pounds that you can tow behind this truck, and you got all that bed space in the rear as well. So, you know, like I said, this is a great truck. The fit and finish is very good. The seats are very comfortable. I love that 12-inch screen right here with the Sync 4. Very responsive, very crystal clear screen right there. You got wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You got over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. So if you're looking at a truck like this, definitely check out Koons Sterling Ford. If you want this particular truck, ask for Matt Newman. He's a great guy. Like, genuinely, he's a very good guy. So ask for him if you're interested in this truck or any Ford product. But with that said, that's the end of today's video. So please give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm really gunning for 1,000 subscribers. It's fighting me a little bit, but you know, we're gonna get to that point, and we're just gonna keep pushing. So once we hit 1,000, we're going to 5,000. Once we hit 5,000, we're going to 10,000. And from 10,000, we're gonna hit 100,000. We're really, this year and next year, we're gonna make this channel what it should be. And I'm really gonna try to hit 50 to 100,000 subscribers by next year. And you know, that can only happen by you guys hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. So please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the review. Let me know what you thought about this beautiful blue exterior color. But that's the end of today's video. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.